All right, Bo, man. It's so cool of you to sit down with me because I've been wanting to do this for a while. And I met Bo right when we first purchased Speechless, was around 3-4 years ago. You've been so great with us. So your position is the general manager. Is that the right word?
Son-in-law.
The son-in-law of Craig Blackwell. Who started the company.
Yep.
So when we look at the history of this incredible custom Carolina boat, where did it all come from? Like, why did Wanchese, North Carolina, become this mecca for boat, like essentially offshore engineering and just it's like produced, like so much has come from this little hub right here.
Well, I'll tell you, it's really a unique thing when you stop and look at it and how many boat builders. We're on an island of Wanchese and Manio. Yeah. And there's probably 5 or 6 major boat builders on this island.
Yeah.
The island's 5 miles long, 1.5 miles wide. And on this little island, there's boats that's shipped all over the world.
Yeah.
Even us. Not necessarily have we built all the boats I'm getting ready to tell you about, but the sun hardly sets on a project that we've completely redone or something like that around the world.
Right.
I go a lot of places and they think Carolina boats and stuff like that there, and they're like, well, I've not heard of Blackwell, and you start talking about somebody that you know, and it's a small world. I have people call me from Australia and stuff like that there, and it's neat. Getting back to your question though, is we live on Roanoke Island, and this is a unique place. This is where people from England got tired of the same old.
Yeah. And
they ventured out and says, hey, there's got to be something better out there than what we're going through. And they came to Dare County, now, as you know it, Roanoke Island.
Yeah.
And I think that's been passed on from generations to generation to generation. Instead of having something that everybody else is doing.
Yeah. It's like want to clear your own path.
There's like, we're the ones out there fishing. We see what needs to be done.
Right.
And so each guy that steps up to it, it used to be the boat captains would get together and build a boat. And they'd fish a boat for a season, sell it, and next year they'd build a new one. And over time, you kept tweaking. Yeah. Uneducated men. Didn't need a college education. And then I remember even as a boy in the 70s, running around, and you didn't mess with that stick that had drawings on that stick. And the whole boat was built off these sticks. They didn't do no drawings like you see, blueprints and stuff like that there. So the ordinary, they just thought outside the box. And they're like, I can do this, but because of the area, and we live in a unique area where the Gulf Stream comes in, we get a wind that blows every afternoon that comes in. So we wanted a sharper ride, a better designed boat and stuff. So through time, we just kept tweaking it and didn't need the guy to go out there and design it for us. We did the designing ourselves. And through the years, you've come up with what we said. I grew up in the fishing community. My dad was a commercial fisherman all my life. At 3 years old, I'm talking commercial fishing with nets and stuff like that there for flounder. At 3 years old, I was filling net needles for him. And so boats and water has been my livelihood all my life. And so I've seen the changes from the old group to the new generation as it's taken place. And it's been a unique thing to watch it come into existence.
When did the Carolina Flare truly, and for those that aren't familiar, I mean, I know most viewers are familiar with it, but what makes the Carolina Flare special, and where did it begin? Do we even know who was the OG, the first person that put that huge flare in the hull?
Around here, nobody wants to take credit for it because it's become so popular. I've talked to the older people and they give credit to somebody else. The oldest one and probably one of the most unrecognized guys is Omi Tillett. Now, Omi Tillett's got a big name in sport fishing, but I grew up with him and he was an old man. As he retired, I got to talk to him a little bit, and he only built, I think, 8 boats. But I don't know how many boat builders he started. He says he got the idea from down, I don't know, somewhere around Moorhead or something. He gives credit to somebody else. And there's a book out there, Carolina Flare, and you can read it. And, and it's a good read. It's got a lot of local boat builders in it and stuff that somebody's written up. So, but everybody kind of gives somebody else their credit, but that's what's happened through the years. Everybody just tweaked it.
That's kind of cool though that everybody gives everybody credit, because that's not always the case. But that's another thing that makes the fishery here different, is because the fishermen here, they share information instead of hoarding all the information. They catch a fish, they talk about it. It's that when you talk about that southern hospitality, it is very different fishing here than it is in the Northeast. There's no question about it. Not only are the boats different, but the willingness to share information is different. And I'm not saying either one of the two is better or worse, but there's clear, unique differences in the cultures between the two.
It is. I have a lot of people that come here from out of town, from Maine, anywhere from Maine to Texas, bring their, we do a lot of rework, not necessarily on just our boats, but other projects, and they want me to work on them. And they've known me from a captain or something like that there. And everybody's heard of Oregon Inlet being such a bad place. And they're like, well, how do I get in, this, that, and the other? And I tell every one of them, I says, you get here, I says, and then just call out, say, hey, I'm bringing a boat to Blackwell Boatworks. I've never been in Oregon Inlet.
Don't attempt.
Nobody will turn you down. Everybody will tell you, get in behind me and let me walk you through.
Otherwise, you're going to run aground and you're going to have a really bad day.
And so it is a very friendly place. I hope it keeps going on from generations. I know even in my boat building industry, there is, I can tell you a story of where we're in need of something, we can run to another boat shop, and if they have it, they are willing to give it to you. Cool. Without charging you for it, just replace it. I went and stole a generator from a guy when we sent a boat to Dubai one time. The wire and the back end weren't right, and one of my salesmen said, well, I dropped one off, and I don't know if he's put it in, so we ran over there. It was there on the floor. I picked it up, put it back in my truck, and the owner of the business said, where are you taking my generator? I'm getting ready to put it in. I said, no, this is my generator. Yours is coming next week. And he was like, okay. But he was very, I told him the situation. And, so yes, there is a camaraderie that we are here together. We love bringing people in, and each boat builder is kind of unique in what they do. We're all competitive, but
what makes Blackwell unique? If somebody said to you, why would I choose a Blackwell over all these other great brands? Because there's a lot of brands out here. Obviously, just can we just name some of the ones that are built here in Wanchese? You've got Bayless is one. You've got Scarborough's one. You got Spencer's one. I mean, it's like these are known brands.
Richie Howe.
So these are all just really great brands. And I remember the first time I didn't know anything about custom Carolina boats. And I can recall the first time we stepped on Speechless, Ron said, this is a Blackwell. And I said, is that significant? He said, you don't understand, Blackwell, this is a Lexus when there's a lot of Toyotas out there. And I still was so young and naive, and I still am pretty ignorant, to a lot of the things of the industry. But what would you say makes Blackwell special?
Craig, I think, really made it special, and that's the one thing that I've inherited. He's semi-retired. He still runs the business. I still keep him up to date. He don't necessarily the day-to-day business don't keep up with, but the overall picture, I keep him filled in consistently with. Ask questions, especially when it comes to rework on some of the older boats that I'm not familiar with, stuff that we didn't build. I go to him for his genius and stuff like that there, but Craig was always looking to build a better boat than what you paid for. It might not have the glitz and the glamour, but you got more than your value that you paid for.
Right.
And then he had the character that he always wanted to keep that boat up. And you walked through the shop this morning and you saw boats 1994, 2007.
Y'all got 3 major refits going on right now.
Correct. And we like to keep up with our boats. Not only do you get to see where you come from, but you get to see where the problems are. We crawl into other people's boats and our boats. And okay, this is the same area that we're having a problem with, they're having. How can you do it? And Craig's always pushed the envelope of inventing something. He was brought here by Buddy Davis to build the first cold molded boat. And then he went in business for himself, and he was always pushing the envelope with that. So
speaking of that, what do you see as the major innovations going forward? Let's go back a little bit. What have been the biggest innovations and that you've seen with sport fishing boats over the last few decades, and then after that, what do you see as some of the potential innovations that are coming?
Probably the materials have been one of the biggest. We do a lot of composites now.
Right.
Craig, I know there's some people that do nothing but composites in their boats. I see some people that still that stay with that cold molded, which is mostly wood that's been formed and laminated together to hold the shape.
What's your opinion on that? Now this is I know you're afraid to answer that question because you don't want to throw anybody under the bus. But if you were with a customer right now, and if I said to you, what's your opinion on that? You'd give me at least something here, right? And this is, I don't consider, this is an opinion. It's your personal opinion. And it doesn't mean that it's necessarily right for everybody, but this is just your opinion.
Yeah, because custom boats is not right for everybody.
That's right. Oh, that's very true.
The custom boat is what do you want? And I sell to the customer. I have people walk on, and I'll get back to the answer, but I have people walk on the boat and say, why is this like this here? And my answer is, because that's the way the original owner wanted it for this specific reason.
Yes.
And he got what he wanted.
Right.
Don't mean it's going to be what the general public wants.
Yeah, and it's not always what you would have done as if you were the boat owner, but it's what that owner is, hence customized.
Right, and Craig has designed boats depending on where the boat goes, whether it goes to the Gulf of America now, or whether it goes to the Northeast, or whether he's in Florida. The boat is built for that customer and designed for what he wants to do. I've got one guy that he does a lot of diving, and he says he does more diving off the boat than what he does fishing off the boat. So the boat is built around the diving more than it is sport fishing.
Interesting.
So every boat you get in that area is kind of unique. So it's not necessarily the wrong thing. It's just that's not the boat for you and stuff. So
all right, composite versus wood. I'm not letting you off the hook.
I tried. I like composite. It has a place. I like what Craig is. And through the years, what we've come up with is I like merging the two together. The wood is a great sounder in the water. It's stiff. It's probably the lightest weight for the strength that you can get. And I like that. We do a cold molded bottom. I've done all core bottoms. Not a fan of it. That's just me. That's not
when you say an all-core bottom, it means a composite bottom. Cold molded bottom is the wood plus the glass and all that.
Correct.
Okay. So obviously the composite versus wood conversation. I'm guessing there's been an explosion in terms of omni sonar, gyro, stuff like that. What are you seeing there?
Yes. It kind of blew my mind that's went there. I think this year here I've put in 6 sonars, and all the refits I'm doing, I'm putting in gyro and sonars.
It's becoming a standard thing.
It has become a standard.
Which is wild, because if you take a typical sport fisher and you put in a gyro and an omni, some type of sonar, what's that, like $200,000 together?
$250,000.
Yeah, 250 grand, which is to me that's extraordinary.
And you didn't need it 5 years ago.
Yeah, but now it's like, now everybody's got this FOMO, but the reality is, it's a very, very different experience on the water with gyro, and you catch a lot more fish. With sonar, especially if you're going after billfish.
Well, tuna,
I know they work with tuna as well.
And stuff. So it's being branched out more and more the more they play with it and stuff like that there. It's really...
So that's becoming the standard. 250 grand for those two things.
Professor, I tell you what, this whole AI stuff is wild, isn't it?
It is crazy. I didn't even know what AI was.
Yeah, and what's really, really cool is one of our sponsors for the show here, BoatBot, You've heard us talking about BoatBot. Well, they've got Captain AI as part of their app. And what's so great about this, and you and I have been using it, if you've ever used AI before, you can ask any question and pretty much get any answer. Well, Captain AI is specific to the marine industry, and now it helps you find answers way faster than looking in old paperwork or trying to do a Google search. And you've used it yourself.
Yeah, I always have lots of questions when I'm working on stuff. It's a great tool. It helps you identify parts and vendors that are associated with those parts. It's just, it's great. It's a one-touch, information.
Yes, it's like having a crew member that has all the answers.
That's right.
So we appreciate Captain AI. We appreciate BoatBot. Make sure you check them out today.
Anything else that you're seeing as a trend that wasn't necessarily here 10, 20 years ago?
Things happen. It just goes in cycles and stuff like that there. Of course, as people's playing with their boats, like I say, Dare County's never satisfied with building the same boat over. They're tweaking it a little bit. And most of us don't go outside. We'll tweak one thing. That way, if it don't work out, it's not ruining the boat. It's just like, I'm not doing that again. Just trying to get a little bit faster, trying to keep, our main thing is that we never want to lose here is the sea condition. Now, with the gyro, it's allowed us to tweak. That's probably been the neatest thing in the last 5 years. Before, 10 years ago, you walked a fine line to keeping a boat so it didn't roll much, but yet wanting it to have a good head sea. There was a fine balance that you had to play with. The gyro has opened the door to that. Now you can put a better entry in because of the stabilization of the gyro. It's allowed you to push the envelope a little bit more.
That's a really big deal there.
Gives you a better platform and a better ride home.
If somebody says to you, why are these boats so incredibly expensive? A new build for Custom Carolina these days, and it varies from manufacturer to what the person wants and all that. What would be the range today? And let's look at it like for something that's in that 50 to 65 class for Custom Carolina. Obviously, depending on the builder, is it safe to say most are $3 to $12 million, or like what is the range?
It depends on horsepower and stuff. It's not the length of the boat, and the length has a lot to do with it, but it's what you put inside.
Sure.
How many staterooms? How many this, how many that? You put, what's the horsepower package? Where it's custom, everything's custom. We can move bulkheads to allow for bigger engines. We can, if you want more living space. We're a production boat, and they'll give you a couple of layouts. This is layout A, B, and C. That's, if you got 3 options, that's a lot. Now they'll give you all kinds of materials and drapery and stuff like that there, and types of wood and interior stuff. But as of the design, we move bulkheads. If it's a charter boat, we can extend the cockpit a little bit. But we do it with balancing because every boat that we build is a one-off. $3 million, maybe just a hair over for a 50-footer. We did.
So, and I'm not saying just Blackwell. If you look across the board, so most of the time today, a sport fisher is you're gonna see starting around $3 million. For most manufacturers, accurate?
Yeah, in that 50-foot class, and because of it, you don't see a lot of boats that size built.
Right.
They are the prize. If you find one in good condition, people want to get it.
You can't see anything that's 47 anymore being built.
And it's a big jump from the center console to a diesel engine boat.
That is a big jump, especially if it's 50-some feet.
Yeah, and when you talk about 50-foot and you say $3 million versus the the big center console's $1 million, $1 million, $2 million. Well, it's double the money, but you're spending less fuel. You get a better ride. You're relaxed. You're out of the weather. All of a sudden, you become not a surfboard out there with outboards on the back. I don't mean that mean. It's just that's where the money comes. It's anytime you go custom.
It's a different game, man.
It just blows the doors open, and all of a sudden you get the ride. You get the feel. There's nothing like standing behind a boat that you created. Everybody talks about a new car smell. You get in a new car, it's got that leather smell, the carpet. They've got it.
Something magical about new sport fish smell to me.
And you say, okay, that car smell wears off. But when you come in with a custom boat and I ask you, how high do you want your steering wheel?
Yeah.
It's made to fit you.
That's right.
Whether you're 6'9" or 5'9", that steering wheel is designed to fit you.
Last question for you, Bo, and thanks for sitting with us today. Hopefully you've enjoyed this if you're watching this, and I know I'm learning something. And when you look ahead at the future of the sport fishing industry and custom Carolinas, what do you see? Like, what do you see down the road?
The new materials are good. I enjoy seeing the new products coming out, and I watch my salesmen all the time. The biggest thing I see is a new group of customers coming in, the next generation of customers coming in. Because because we're so custom built, it really relies a lot on their invention coming over.
Gotcha.
And as you come up from smaller boats, they are bringing a lot of the ideas up. If you look at the small boat, the center consoles that I'm talking about, they really pack a lot into a boat.
They do.
They got a lot of innovation into them and stuff. They got sides falling down. They push the design market because they're building hundreds of that boat. Well, we're only building one. So you get that customer coming to you, and then all of a sudden you're putting side doors in a boat. So watching the next generation really is bringing a new invention to the custom boat market.
That's really interesting. The innovation comes from the buyer sometimes and what they've experienced. Okay, that's
and
great.
you get, as a builder, you get to tweak that and make it work.
Yeah.
And so that's really it. Kind of works good. I'm not a fisherman. I love fishing, but I much rather catch a speckled trout than a head of marlin. Nothing,
Sure.
I grew up on the water. I don't care to go past the sea buoy many times anymore. But seeing what they bring and what you bring and tweaking it together and molding it into a custom product is
that's pretty cool.
I've known boats. It's designing the boats is just the bottoms, the way they ride, studying how the water and the air and it just, to me, is fascinating.
It is very fascinating, and the history of this whole industry is fascinating. I think you're a pretty fascinating guy too, Bo. So I want to thank you for your time today. And if you're watching this, if you're thinking about a sport fisher new build or you need a refit, this is probably one of the calls that you should make with Blackwell. But otherwise, we've had this incredible experience with them. We love working with them. They bend over backwards for us every season. And I know we're like a small customer, but you really make us feel like we're really important. And you've let the professor himself, Captain Ron, just run around your shop and use your stuff and do whatever he needs to do, which I know he has just been so grateful for that. So we appreciate it very much.
It's been neat with him. He's come in and he's in awe, and that's what I'm talking about. See the next generation come in, and all of a sudden they're looking and like this is wonderful stuff.
It is wonderful. Bo Meekins, thank you, sir. Thank you for watching. Until the next time, everyone, stay salty.